Well, folks, we are still at the Sercombe Show, and it was just awesome to see the community all come together. What we're going to do today is we're going to start out this episode with an old truck. Let's start the show.
And I can still remember all my buddies are hollering, "Are you all right, all right?" But you don't know. You know, you're hurt.
Yeah.
And anyway, I applied 5 years ago for a hearing, and they said, some guy in the VA said, "Oh, you never did it." Well, I went over to Battle Creek to VA, and I was there all day testing me, and they sent me benefits. Goes to the bank every
Good, and they should. They should.
Yeah, I was so happy. It kind of helped my retirement.
I mean, you know, you guys earned it. Above everybody else, you guys earned it.
It was rough over there. It rained in, I think it was either June or April, 30 some inches of rain, they said. Inches, you know, come down.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember our foxhole take a ration can, dig a hole in the low part so you could bail the water out so you didn't have to stand.
And most people wouldn't understand that.
Boy, was I glad to get back to America.
I'll bet. I have a very close friend of mine who was in Vietnam.
They had it rough too, and but did you know, and I was watching a documentary, it's been a couple years ago, and that only 20% of the people in the military are in actual combat, but they take 80% of all the casualties. And then I said, now I know why. Pretty every one of us got wounded, but the people in supply and all that in the back, they aren't there. You know, it was kind of interesting.
Well, do you mind if we do an interview on the truck here?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll be waiting.
All right. So this is, I see, a 1922 white. I must admit, I'm a very big enthusiast of anything with a motor, but I don't know too much about these whites. I have seen them before, but is there any way you could give us kind of a rundown on it?
Yeah, White was owned part of the White Sewing Machine Company, Cleveland, Ohio. That's where they were made. And in the 40s and 50s, they were a lot nicer truck than this new one. But they was a big producer of semi to pull freight and stuff. And they was a good engine. They built their own engines. They called it the White Mustang. It was a chrome moly block. And if you rebuild them and you had a boring machine, you couldn't cut them like you would a regular block. You had to take just little pieces out of it and keep doing it until you got it oversized. Because they were so hard, but they lasted for so long. They, when you rebuilt one, did it right, you had an engine that was ready to go for lots and lots of miles. This one is not a chrome moly. They didn't have that back in 22. But this engine is 327 cubic inches, 4-cylinder, and you cranked it. But there was an option for a starter. So I rebuilt this engine and I put a electric starter on it. I had to make an adapter and put a ring gear on. But it came, the starter on there is a 12 volt off a John Deere combine. That's what and it made an adapter, hooked it up. It takes right off when you hit the starter. And White made all their own components for these: transmission, differential, and this is a model 40, model W40, and that is a single wheel. They made a 45 with dual wheels, and the 40, I had a guy tell me at Des Moines, Iowa truck show, he said, I have never seen a 40. He was from British Columbia, and he had two 45s. and he was under this truck and over it and everything else. He couldn't believe it. He seen a 40, and the rear end is a white, but the hubs out there say West on them and stuff. I had to all part, put new brakes on it and everything, and put new tires on it, and there's the clutch was good, and so I was lucky there, and it runs good. I drove it here in Spring Harbor, which is about 12 miles. It runs like a dream, but I just can't stand on the throttle because it's got a vibration in it when you rev it up, and I don't want to hurt something, so I just played with it. I was here in an hour. This was my uncle's. Kellogg cereal, bought this brand new. They sold it to a guy who retired in oiled roads, and then my uncle bought it and made this, made a farm tractor out of it. And then I used to farm with this for him. And then when he retired, he bought a commercial tractor. He told me he'd sell it to me, and so I bought it. I put it in my barn. I had it there for a long time. Well, I bought it in '75, and it was just a few years ago I got it put together after I retired. I was about 3 years rebuilding this, and you can't buy no parts for it. You got to make it. And the radiator leaked like pretty bad, and I took it to a commercial place, and the guy said, "That's too old. We won't work on it." So I went and bought a bottle of acid and solder, and I rebuilt it, and it don't leak a drop. I was lucky. I'm not a radiator man, but I did that because
but you got the passion.
Yeah,
you know,
I wanted it fixed.
That's one thing I've noticed in restoration is if you want it bad enough, you will find a way to make it happen.
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
I've heard a lot of stories of guys. Well, I tried finding this part, no one had it, nobody wanted to do it, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I started doing it, and then I came out with this. You know, and that's one of the things I love about a good restoration is hearing guys kind of just do something they've never done it, or sometimes nobody has ever done, and they come up with something beautiful like this.
The lights and stuff, the headlights and some of the taillights are, I had a buddy that went to Percy, Pennsylvania. He brought them back. They were carbide, but you got to have better lights than that for the roads here. And so I put tractor sill beam light inside of there, and I had it into jacks at night, and you can see real good at night. And everybody sees me. I've never been rented to at night. Of course, I got LED lights that flash on the back just when I'm driving.
That's a good plan. That's a real good plan.
People are so disrespectful to anybody. Right there, 2 miles from my house, 2 weeks ago, there was 2 people killed right there, Sandstone and King Road, because a girl ran the stop sign, hit their SUV, drove them into a coming car, and they didn't have their seatbelt on, and killed both of them, and they should have been buckled up. But why she ran that stop sign, she never looked like slowed up even. And the one lady that was killed was my grandson's wife's school teacher. You know, that's sad.
Yeah.
She was from Coldwater. That's where my grandson lives. And I just found out this week that it was Christina's school teacher, retired school teacher. She's not with us anymore. There's not too many people rebuild magnetos anymore. You know, this don't have a use for it. But I got a man down in Grand Rapids, Ohio, this good, and he rebuilt my distributor magneto, and so I feel pretty confident now.
Hey, beauty. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you.
You enjoy the rest of the show.
I will.
Hey, you love your truck. Your truck gets you from point A to B to C, all the way to Z and back to A again, every day. It doesn't ask for much. It asks for some oil, give me some fuel. The rest of the time, it just tugs whatever you want all over the map. That's why when you're done with this commercial, you should head on over to Diesel Foreign Apparel, where you can get cool hats like this, cool shirts like this, and you can also get one for your truck. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And remember, don't leave your truck out of the story. Okay, since I've gotten here today, I have been looking everywhere for these two, the Hitchcocks. I've just finally run into them. I've seen this truck and I have been asking everybody, who owns this truck? All day. I finally caught up. And God, I am speechless when I look at this truck. So I'm just gonna go ahead and let them explain it. Guys, can you give me the rundown on this truck?
It's a 2018 389 glider, Peterbilt. We built it right at our shop there in Weberville, Michigan. 18-speed trans, 6NZ Caterpillar engine, 370 gears, flat top, 270 wheelbase. That's the kind of the basics of it. Thing we like to. That's how my dad started it. And my brother and I have kind of just keep on going with it. Just every time we do one, we do one more step, one more thing, maybe two more things, maybe three more things. So we just keep adding on. And this one, we kind of went a little more on the motor. We concentrated in kind of on horsepower and more workability. We didn't get quite as crazy on how low it is and how long it is. We got into that at one point too. That can go bad. So yeah. So we went more to the real life workable truck. And so yeah, you see what you got here with that. So the big thing was the engine is totally different than anything we've ever done. Yeah, it's a short story.
Short story. All right. So Dave, you said that you started this.
Yeah, well, I didn't start it. I can't take all the credit, but I definitely been involved for a long time. But my granddad, my dad's dad, he was a farmer, a trucker in a local town right there where we live, and he hauled the local elevator, and they had gas jobs, and my dad got some of the first diesels, and they got some of the first KT 450s, and they got some of the highest horsepower, and we pulled the highest weights back in the 70s, and my uncle had some of the 13 axle trailers back that you don't even see or hear about anymore, and they just put on as much as they could put on, and when we got down the road later in life, they just continued to do that. And of course, I grew up with every outlaw there was steel haul, and everybody that knew how to do it and do it right, and so when these boys come along, they just carried on the family tradition and took it to the next level. We went from being big and bad and heavy, and I kind of put the show into circuitous into us. I mean, we didn't hunt, we didn't fish, we didn't do anything. We went to truck shows all summer long, and they started at a really young age, and they never got over it, I guess. I've been involved with the truck shows for many years, and I'm still president or still treasurer of the NAS, and still do all that books for the National Association of Show Trucks that do St. Ignace. So that kind of gives you a little rundown about who we are, and like I say, anybody who knows us knows that we've always kept pretty nice trucks. So.
And she is absolutely gorgeous. Now, about how many hours would you say you got into doing this?
It's not hours, it's weeks.
Really? You put it together that quick?
Yeah, no, it's hard to say.
And it's an ongoing thing. The boys, they'll tear something all apart. I'll never forget one of the first things they did. He got a 2005, and he ran it for about 8 months, and I went to Florida for a week and a half, and they come back, and here it was all over the shop floor. Everything. I said, what was wrong with it? They said, we wanted to redo it. They lowered it, and they did
We lost Best of Show by 1 point.
Oh.
They did all sorts of things.
That one always gets you in the feels.
But then they made my show truck in 2008. Took my last truck that I bought new and turned that into a show truck, and we've had that there. I think 7, 8, 9 years. We only put 40,000 miles on it. We stretched that to 310, and got some pretty cool features on it. So
now we've got some footage of this idling, and I love the this thing's blowing smoke rings. What exactly did you do to get this engine to where it's at right now?
So there's a lot of pieces to that. I like to call it a hybrid, but it's got a lot of different ideas put into it, I guess is the best way to put it. It's got some special programming. That's where you get the loping type of deal with the smoke rings and all that. It's for fun more than anything, that stage of it. So that's what that is. But yeah, it's got a little bit of pieces from about every series Caterpillar motor I think they made in it. It's kind of what I like to call it's like the best part of each series is in that motor. Kind of is what came up with that style.
Okay, so obviously a cam, probably one of the first things you guys did.
Yep.
I'm guessing.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Now, on average, how often do you have to clean this thing?
That's daily, because I normally spray dirt roads, do chloride with this truck. So we're doing dust control on dirt roads, so it gets washed every day.
That's what I was interested in, because that is like one of the nastiest jobs out there for a truck. I mean, if you are not on it constantly, your truck's just gonna eat itself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's got to be a big job. But she is a beautiful, beautiful truck. Now, you've done racing with it yet, or you're about to?
I did a small one. Yeah, just kind of trying things out. But yeah, we'll see what we end up doing.
Okay. All right.
It's busy.
Well,
we race my dad and I like to race up and down the highway sometimes. I got footage of
up
that.
to 55. Only up to 55.
Yeah. We've done that a couple times.
wow. Is there another way?
Nah, we come from 4 generations of big power. I mean, it's just my granddad, he was the fastest cars, and my dad, he had them KT450s were just for mudding engines.
No way. I kind of tease and joke about the cats all the time. Folks on there heard me say CAT stands for can't afford this because it's really expensive, but they are awesome motors. And I really like the Detroit diesels myself.
And I drove Detroits too, but we walked a lot.
Well, it depends on the one that you get. I've seen some. Yeah, I'm not saying anything, but everybody's got their one, and
I go with durability. Okay.
Durability is good. We've got a little everything in our company. We've got cats and Detroit diesels, but you take the good with the bad. But well, thank you guys very much for the interview. I look forward to seeing this truck out on the circuit. Just keep up what you guys are doing. You guys are doing it right. So
Thank you for your time.
thank you again for your time. Have a good one, guys.